Welcome to Quick Course Digest. Today, we're diving into anatomy and physiology. And what that really means is we're taking a whirlwind tour of, well, you, the most incredible and complex machine on the planet. We're going to break down how it all works from the inside out. So let's get right into it. We're going to cover everything from the teeny tiny cells that make you, all the way up to the skeleton that holds you together. So here's our game plan. We'll start with the absolute basics, the building blocks of life. Then we'll look at our protective shield, your skin. After that, we'll dive deeper into the body's framework and the masters of motion that let you move. And finally, we'll see how it becomes one big integrated body. All right, first stop on our tour, the building blocks of life. This is the real foundation of, well, you. And before we can even begin to understand the big stuff, we've got to start super, super small. I mean, microscopically small. Okay, so think of your body like a massive, complex building. You don't start with a roof, right? You start with bricks and mortar. For us, that's the chemical level, atoms and molecules. Those come together to form the cellular level, the actual living cells. Then you group those cells together and you get tissues. Stack those tissues up in the right way and boom, you've got an organ. And finally, a bunch of organs working together, that's an organ system. It's this amazing ladder of complexity, from the smallest part to the whole you. Now, what's the point of all this organization? It's all in service of one crucial concept, homeostasis. Seriously, this word is key. It's basically your body's obsession with balance. It's like an internal thermostat, always tweaking things to keep your temperature right, your pH level perfect, you name it. It's the constant behind-the-scenes work that keeps you stable and, alive. Okay, with that foundation laid, let's look at our first major system. We're starting from the outside and working our way in, so we begin with your personal, flexible suit of armor, the integumentary system, or as you and I call it, your skin. And your skin is way more than just a single sheet. It's actually got three main layers. On top, you've got the epidermis. That's your tough outer barrier. Underneath that is the dermis, which I like to call the living layer, because it's where all the action is. And then at the bottom, there's the hypodermis, which is all about insulation and a little bit of cushioning. So let's zoom in on that top layer, the epidermis. This is your frontline defense. It's packed with a tough, water-resistant protein called keratin. Yeah, the same stuff in your hair and nails. But it also has these amazing little cells called melanocytes. Their job? To produce melanin. When you get a tan, that's literally your melanocytes kicking into high gear to create a pigment shield to protect you from UV radiation. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so if the epidermis is the shield wall, then the dermis right below it is the busy command center. This layer is jam-packed with stuff. It's got blood vessels bringing in supplies, nerves so you can feel things, the roots of your hair follicles, and your sweat glands. It's the functional heart of the skin, for sure. And speaking of sweat, did you know you have two different kinds of sweat glands? Yep, the eccrine glands are all over your body, and they produce that watery sweat that cools you down when you're hot. That's homeostasis in action again. But then you have apocrine glands, mostly in places with a lot of hair, like your armpits. They produce a thicker sweat, and, well, when bacteria on your skin get a hold of it, that's what causes body odor. So you see, the skin is this incredible multitasker. It's protection against germs and UV light. It's a huge sensory organ for touch and pain. It helps control your temperature. And get this, it even makes vitamin D when the sun hits it. So yeah, it's way, way more than just a simple covering. All right, let's move a little deeper. Imagine we peel back that amazing skin layer. What do we find? The body's framework. We're talking about the skeletal system, the very structure that gives you your shape and keeps you from being a puddle on the floor. And that framework is built from 206 bones. That's the magic number for an adult. And every single one of those 206 bones is a living organ, perfectly designed for its job. Here's a little trivia for you. Babies are actually born with way more, around 300 bones. A bunch of them just fuse together as you grow up. Now, we can split that whole skeleton into two big divisions. First, you have the axial skeleton. Think of it as the central core of your body, your skull, your spine, and your rib cage. Its main gig? Protection. It's guarding all the important stuff. Then you've got the appendicular skeleton. This is everything else, your arms, legs, shoulders, pelvis, all the parts that hang off the axis. And their job is movement. And here's a super important idea in anatomy. Shape dictates function. It's so clear when you look at bones. Long bones, they're levers for movement. Short bones, like in your wrist, they're all about stability and support. Flat bones are for protection, like a shield. And irregular bones, well, they have complex, weird shapes because they have really specialized jobs.
But what happens if you break one of these bones? It's actually amazing. Your body basically sends in a construction crew. First, a blood clot forms at the break. Then, the body builds a soft cartilage bridge to connect the pieces. After that, it replaces the cartilage with a hard, bony callus. And the final step, over time, is that the bone remodels itself back to its original shape. It's an incredible process of self-repair.
Okay, so we have this strong, rigid framework, but how do we bend and twist and move? Bones alone can't do that. That's where our masters of motion come in, joints. These are the crucial spots where two or more bones meet. You might be surprised to learn that not all joints are designed for big movements. We actually classify them by how much they can move. Some are totally immobile, like the sutures in your skull. They're called synarthrosis joints. Then you have some that are only slightly movable, like between your vertebrae. Those are amphiarthrosis. And finally, you have the ones we all think of, the freely movable diarthrosis joints, like your knee or shoulder. Diving into those freely movable joints, we call them synovial joints. There are actually 6 different types. You've got ball and socket joints, like in your shoulder, that give you that huge range of motion. Hinge joints, like your elbow, that just bend and straighten. Pivot joints that let you rotate. Condyloid, saddle, and plane joints. Each one is built for a specific kind of movement, and together, they give us our incredible dexterity.
And these different joints allow for a whole vocabulary of movement. For example, flexion is when you decrease the angle of a joint, like bending your elbow. Extension is the opposite, straightening it. Abduction is moving something away from the middle of your body, and adduction is bringing it back toward the middle. Once you know these basic terms, you can describe pretty much any motion the body makes. Okay, so we've looked at the building blocks, the outer shields, the inner framework, and the joints that let it all move. But the real mind-blowing part? None of these things work alone. It's all about how they come together. It's like a perfectly conducted symphony. The skin protects the bones provide that rigid framework for everything else, and the joints, well, they create the potential for all that amazing motion. Everything is connected, everything relies on everything else. And really, that's the core idea here. Protection, support, and motion, they aren't separate functions at all. They're part of one single, integrated, absolutely brilliant marvel of biological engineering. So let me leave you with this question to chew on. How does this insanely intricate design, from the cellular level all the way up to our most complex joints, give us the ability to adapt, to heal, and to thrive in a world that's always changing? It's something to think about, isn't it? The absolute marvel that is your body. Thanks for digging in with me on this quick course digest.